eelmine grupp arvas, et põhjuseks võiks olla, et on ehkki mingisugused instrumente kõhu ette jäänud.
I think having seen my earlier picture of the patient that was bleeding, they had no faith in my surgical ability.
Eelmine grupp arvas, et kuna ta on nii vilets kirurg, mida oli selle pildid näha, et siis see võiks olla tõenäoline põhjus.
But you're quite right. Peritonitis, we changed our approach to the patient in terms of use of which antibiosis, we changed our approach in terms of flushing the abdomen, and we've successfully got this peritonitis under control.
Põhjuseks tõepoolest oli peritoniit ja muutes natukene ravi, ehk siis muutes antibiootikumi ja lisades kõhuveenu loputuse, siis tegelikult pöördub asi paremuse poole.
I frequently talk to veterinarians in the Netherlands that are charging 30-40 euros for each hematology, and then they're surprised that they only do 1 or 2.
Hollandis paljud loomaarstid küsivad hematoloogia analüüsi eest 30-40 eurot ja nad teevad selle tõttu neid vähe, seal patsiendi paar tükki.
That is far in excess of what it will cost you to do a hematology. Obviously you want to make profit, but what we find is that if you price hematology lower, people do a lot more hematology and start to look at these trends. Hinnastades või võttes vähem raha hematoloogia analüüsi eest, teevad loomaarstid tegelikult oluliselt rohkem, mis toob tegelikult sama raha sisse ja patsientidele kasulikum. So we have met a lot of information today, and I hope I haven't made you think that hematology is even more complex.
Loodab, et tema jutt ei ole teinud ja arusaamist hematoloogiast veel segasemaks.
But I would encourage you, whichever hematology analyzer you use, to think about those graphical reports, get them switched on if they're not already being printed with your hematology.
Julgustab meil vaatama oma hematoloogia analüüsaatorite graafilist kujutust, analüüsi graafilist kujutust, ükskõik mis masinad siis kasutati ja kui see on välja lülitatud, siis lülitage sisse.
I would encourage you to look at blood films, whether you like to do so or not.
Ja ta julgustab meid vaatama vereäigeid, ükskõik kas me praegu neid seda teeme või mitte.
I would encourage you to think that hematology gives you a report on the whole patient, unlike chemistry, which is just specific organs.
Ta rõhutab, et hematoloogiline analüüs annab meile patsiendist üldvaate erinevad biogeeniast, mis peegeldab üksikud organsüsteemid.
The key to success with hematology is to look at trends.
Ja võti hematoloogilise analüüsi edukaks kasutamiseks on vaadata trende.
People always say, well, this is just IDEX wanting to sell more consumables.
Tihti inimesed ütlevad, et see põhjuseks on IDEX, mis tahab rohkem kulumaterjali müüa.
However, I would challenge you that depending which hematology analyzer you have, actually it usually becomes cheaper if you use more out of the reagent pack rather than more expensive.
Ja ta ütleb, et ühe analüüsi suhteline hind ikkagi muutub odavamaks, kui neid rohkem kasutada.
The liquid reagent systems, to use the analyzer that's most efficient, you probably want to be doing more hematology and not less.
Ja et muuta oma aparaat rohkem efektiivsemaks, tuleks neid analüüse teha ikkagi rohkem.
Well, that depends on your analyzer. But if I had to pick between another chemistry profile or some more hematology, it would be hematology every time.
Ja tema soovitab, kui sa pead valima ühe biokeemilise analüüsi või hematoloogia vahel, siis tema soovitab alati hematoloogia.
So thank you for your time. I'll happily take any questions.
Aitäh ja kindlasti küsige küsimusi.
One question.
Yes,
if you imagine a band neutrophil,
yes,
and let's say sausage, then,
yes,
if he's clearly twisted, it's 2 segments.
Yes.
But sometimes this is, let's say, 1/2 thinner in the center.
yes.
When we consider it band neutrophil and when we consider it 2 segments, there are so many opinions in that matter. What is your opinion?
Küsimus on siis see, et kuidas eristada segmenttuumalist, kepptuumalist neutrofiilist.
Ei ole. Küsimus on see, kuidas, kas sausage on alati vorst või võib ta olla keskelt natuke
seal on palju erinevaid ülemineku vorme, eks ole, kepptuumalisest
segmenttuumalisest. Ma küsingi, mis on tema arvamus?
I don't know whether I'll find it quick enough, but I would love to show you some pictures.
Kohe tulevad mõned pildid seal.
I don't think I will find it quickly enough, but when we introduced the band flag for our analyzers, we took a series of images of banned neutrophils and we gathered diploma holders in clinical pathology and we asked them independently to vote, is this a banned neutrophil or is it a mature neutrophil? And there was disagreement amongst the group. It is impossible to say this is banned, this is definitely mature. It is a subjective assessment. And so my response to that is the practice should decide for themselves, and usually it's best to have the same individual looking at the blood films from the same patient. So in the example we saw earlier, where we had a number of blood films from the same patient, the same nurse looks and she has her own standard in her head, I think that's as good as you're going to get.
Okay.
There is no hard and fast rule.
Vastus lühidalt on see, et tegelikult ei ole mingit kindlat reeglit, et kui küsida erinevate diplomeeritud patoloogide käest, kust maalt lõpeb segmenttuumaline ja kust maalt algab kepptuumaline, siis kõigil on pisut erinev nägemus asjast. Et vastus on see, et iga kliinik ise peaks endale standardi panema, et kust maalt nad otsustavad, et sealt maalt on see kepptuumaline muutunud segmenttuumaliseks. Tähtis ei ole tingimata see peen eristus, vaid see, missugune on trendi, et see tulemus on väga ühtlane. Question is how long is band neutrophil stays to band neutrophil and what's the time limit when they start to differentiate to segmented neutrophil?
Once it's been released into the circulation as a band neutrophil, it will remain as a band neutrophil, but we should appreciate that the lifespan of a neutrophil, even in health, is measured in some hours.
Et kepptuumaline neutrofiil, kui teda sellisena vereringisse vabastatakse, siis ta jääbki kepptuumaliseks neutrofiiliks, aga tema eluiga on mõni tund. Ta ei muutu vereringis segmenttuumaliseks enam.
Still trying to find the pictures of the band neutrophils that I wanted to show. So I fear we won't get them.
So, what do you think about this baseline hematology? I mean, if you somewhere older dog came to the clinic and then every time you take blood and then measure this hematology numbers, is it usual, or what do you think about baseline hematology?
Küsimus on see, et missugune oleks, et mida ta arvab sellest, et luua igale patsiendile oma siis normaalne hematoloogiline profiil. Küsisid sa seda?
Yes, if you, for example, older dog came to vaccination and then you said that it would be nice to do this hematology or biochemistry, whatever.
So it's a very nice question regarding getting baseline parameters for our patients. We know that when IDEX or any other laboratory provides you with reference intervals, that they are extremely limited because they reflect the population. So the reference intervals that we provide for our analyzers are usually based upon 200 IDEX-owned pets. We all bring our dogs into work, we all take blood samples from each other's dogs, and we find the reference intervals from apparently healthy IDEX-owned dogs.
Igal laboril tegelikult on oma referentsvahemik ja IDEX-i puhul on tegu siis IDEX-i enda töötajate loomade, kliiniliselt tervete loomade vereanalüüside tulemustega, ehk et need referentsväärtused näitavad alati populatsiooni keskmist.
The problem is we end up with very wide reference intervals because there's such variety within a population, and frequently we can see profound changes in an individual that occur within the reference interval.
Ja tulemus on tegelikult see, et need referentsvahemikud on väga laiad, ehk et ühel konkreetsel loomal võivad olla väga suured muutused verepildis, mis ometigi jäävad referentsvahemiku sisse.
And so it's very attractive to have a baseline for our patients to see whether there's been any change within the individual.
Ehk on tegelikult oleks väga mõistlik või väga atraktiivne omada siis iga konkreetse patsiendi jaoks nii-öelda normväärtusi.
It is an ideal, and we find many US speakers will come to Europe and they will say, you should take a blood sample every year and follow the trends in that patient.
Ja paljud Ameerikast pärit lektorid tulevad ja ütlevad, et tegelikult võiks loomalt võtta igal aastal ühe vereproovi ja tehagi nii-öelda siis trendikõvera selle konkreetse looma kohta.
Whilst I can see the scientific appeal and the commercial appeal, I think for many European customers, the prospect, it's hard enough to get many European customers to come for vaccination, let alone yearly blood tests.
Et kui vaadates Euroopa klienti, siis Euroopa kliendid paljud ei ole nõus selleks, kuigi nii teaduslikus seisukohast kui ka rahaliselt oleks väga huvitav. Et paljud eurooplased ei lase ka oma loomi igal aastal vaktsineerida, et veel vähem neid verd võtta.
For the European market, I find it a far more attractive idea to follow a trend in an unwell patient. It would be nice to have a baseline, but I think we are many years off routinely having a baseline for our patients in Europe.
Euroopa klientide puhul tundub loogilisem teha trendikõverad siis haigel loomal. Ta ütleb, et see on tegelikult nagu ajast ees mõtlemine Euroopa jaoks teha trendikõverad tervete looma.
If you have customers that will pay for it, it's a nice idea.
Aga kui kliendid on valmis sellest maksma, siis on suurepärane mõte.
What's the clinical relevance of right shift? Because the lab I'm using has a tendency to report right shift all the time. Well, most of the time. Do they consider actually the toxicity, or what do they mean?
I assume, and it's not a term I like to use, I don't like to use left shift, I don't like to use right shift. I assume from that they mean that they're not seeing an immature population of neutrophils. I suspect they're trying to say an increased concentration of mature neutrophils. I don't find that a particularly useful term, I'll be honest. We face a difficulty when we receive samples at the reference lab because some of the changes that we see in EDTA mimic a left shift, if you will, if we then have to make our own blood film. So reference laboratories often ask you for a fresh blood film. I can tell you the typical experience is that customers never send that fresh blood film, and so we're left taking the potted blood at the reference lab and making our own blood film, and then it's almost impossible to decide whether it's got a left shift or a right shift, or the swelling in the EDTA makes it pretty hard to make that call. Please, if you're going to send in blood films, make them fresh at the time. So I don't know why they use that term so frequently. It's not our lab, is it?
No.
Küsimus oli siis vasaku parem liike kohta, et kui vastused analüsaatorist tulevad sageli, et on parem nihe, ehk et seal on toksilisuse tunnused, et millest see võiks olla tingitud, see on kliiniliselt oluline. Seda sa küsisid. Ja vastus on see, et tegelikult see ei ole kliiniliselt oluline, et põhjus võib olla analüsaatori omapäras, põhjus võib olla siis muutustes, mis tekivad tegelikult peale verevõttusel klaasis. Küll EDTA võiks pigem tekitada vasaknihed, sest et rahvad natukene paisuvad, need tuumad lähevad natukene ümaramaks, ehk et meenutavad rohkem kepptuumalisi kui segmenttuumalisi. See on võib-olla EDTA toime. Ehk et referentslaborid sageli paluvad värskeid vereeigeid, aga loomavasti enamasti ei taha seda teha.
Super, well I look forward to seeing you after lunch to talk about angiostrongylosis.
Ja tere tulemast tagasi peale lõunat, jutt angiostrongyloosist.
Mis kell?
Vaadake, mina ei tea, vaadake kamast.